I was wondering in general how much time it would take to recover from a month-long break from training. My gym was closed all through August, and other than walking and some body weight stuff, I couldn't do much. I gained about 2 kilos, about 4.5 pounds of fat, I'm assuming. I probably feel worse than I look, but in reality, I'm still pretty bummed. Okay. So a couple things we need to talk about there. First of all, moving around, I mean, sure, you maybe gained some weight, but weight is transient, man. It's like...
Yeah, you'll lose it when you get back in the gym.
Thing.
Not a big... I wouldn't worry about it.
The other thing...
also not very much weight.
The other thing, too, is like maintenance is way easier than building new muscle.
Mm-hmm.
The body holds on to it a little bit better. Now, you will... The baseline literature, after 1 week, you're totally good.
Mm-hmm.
No, you should have no change. So if you're going on a week-long vacation... Don't sweat it. Enjoy the time. Come back. You will be, if not 100%, 95% of where you were.
And within like a session or two, you'll be right back. Yeah.
2 weeks is when things start to get a little hairy. 2 weeks with some body weight intervention, you'll probably be the same strength-wise. The movements may not feel as fresh as they did. So you may feel weaker, but that's not absolute weakness. That's more so a lack of familiarity with the movement.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So you go back in, the squat feels
You're
a little off.
rusty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But again, 2 sessions, you shake that rust off, you're right back where you are. Now, when we get to a month, there is definitely some physiological changes. If you've kept your protein intake high and you are moving around, you should maybe lose 10, 20% relative strength. Like, it's not like you're atrophying. You're not losing muscle like you're sick and you're in bed.
Right.
We're going to talk about sickness, but for right now, this is a healthy human being, which for whatever reason, either the gym closed, you went on an extended vacation, whatever, work got really busy. You've not been in the gym for a month, but other than that, you've been paying attention to your nutrition. You've been having a daily energy expenditure. The rule of thumb is normally however long you were out, half of that will be how long it takes for you to get back to ultimate strength.
Well, and like I've been in that. I kind of come and go with how dedicated I am to my exercise programs. You know, I'll be really good for several months and then I kind of will fall off the wagon for, 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
But still, because I live with you, my protein intake is still pretty good.
Yeah.
I still always get my steps.
And you move a lot. Yeah.
I move a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's like when I am like, okay, I need to get back to it. And I jump back in the first week or two. It's like I can still do the same weight that I could do before.
But it doesn't feel as good?
It doesn't feel quite as good. And maybe I take down the reps a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Like instead of doing like 3 sets of 12, I'll get back in with like 3 sets of like 8 to 10.
Yeah.
So like a small reduction in the amount of reps, but like similar weight. I can do all of the same exercises, but feel a little bit rusty.
Yeah.
For maybe 2 weeks, and then I'm like back at it.
Yeah.
And it's nothing like when I first like was new to working out and had to like build up that strength. Like it's still there. It's just like
dormant.
Yeah. Dormant's the perfect word.
Well, because that's in the literature. That's what, so
there
smarter people than me have studied this.
Yeah. Well, and that's been my experience. That's exactly what it feels like.
You unless you've taken a massive layoff, once you build it, what happens is, and I'm going to, again, I just throw the science out there. You can double check me, but the muscle cells do not go anywhere. Once you've built new muscle cells, they don't disappear unless you have atrophied.
Okay.
Right? What they do is they shrink. So they're there. It just, you need to turn them back on, for lack of a more scientific term.
Wake them back up.
So that's if you don't have any like illness or anything like that. My experience was more illness based.
Because you were 2 weeks out of the gym.
Yeah. Was 2 weeks out of the gym. I got sick for one of those weeks.
Right.
And felt some residual effects for the second week of that.
Yeah.
So when I got back into the gym, thankfully, I was intelligent enough, and I did this on purpose, to start a new program coming back to the gym, because I knew even if I had taken a week off, I wanted to start something new going back in. And the reason that's so important is the start of a program is usually the lightest week of the program.
Right.
If it's a well-designed program. If you're going in and the first week is the hardest week,
get a new program.
You got to get a new program. You want to build into volume, intensity, because like we just said, maybe you've just come off of a deload. Maybe you've just come off of a week off. You don't want to go all out first things first, right? So I knew that was coming. Even still, first couple of days were incredibly difficult. And I experienced DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, very similar to when I first started working out. Not to the same degree.
That's the other thing that I forgot to say.
And I was going to ask
every
you.
time I fall off the wagon and come back, the first week is
rough, right?
misery.
Yeah.
And then the second week, it's like, still you get the soreness, but it's not as bad. And then eventually you just don't get sore anymore.
Well, so
I never knew that was a thing
Yeah.
until the first chunk of time where I worked out really consistently.
This is one of the bigger myths that is still prevalent, even with a lot of coaches in our industry, is that soreness equals good work being done, or that soreness precedes muscle growth. Not the case. Soreness indicates novelty. Soreness indicates this is a movement that I either have never done before or I haven't done in a long time. And that is what produces the delayed onset muscle soreness.
Interesting.
Not to say that, because even, I bench 3 times a week. I'm very familiar with the movement. Every now and again, I will still get sore.
Yeah.
But that is more so a product of either novelty and load. Maybe I've gone up in weight. I've gone up in reps. I've added more volume. It is not because, oh my God, I've reached my cap on bench press. I'm not getting as sore. It's not going to continue to grow my muscle.
And even when you do randomly get sore, it's not, I'm sure, to the degree
No.
that it is when you first start.
Nothing will be, even if you've taken a huge layoff, nothing will be as bad as those first couple of weeks in the gym.
Well, because we live in a 3-story townhome.
Yeah.
And I remember the last time I got back into exercising, it was hard to go up and down the stairs. And it's like, we go up and down the stairs a lot just because of the way that the house is.
Our
laid
laundry room's
out.
on the bottom floor.
Bedroom's on the top floor, kitchen's in the middle.
So you got to go back and forth.
You're going up and down the stairs and it is misery. It is hard to go up and down the stairs.
My favorite story to tell, I started working out for football in high school. So this was the summer before we started high school. Actually, it was the spring of our 8th grade year for spring football.
Okay.
But it was the first time that I had ever been in a serious gym. And our gym at school was on the 2nd floor.
Yes.
So day 1, week 1 was a leg day.
Oh,
and
God.
I honestly had to sit on my butt and scoot down the stairs because I could not walk downstairs. And this was 30 minutes after the workout.
Oh,
the next day and the day after, I was crawling places. It was horrible.
Ooh,
so
that's bad.
What I do with a lot of new people is say, hey, listen, this soreness is going to be rough, but it's going to go away, right? Yeah. Because a lot of people will experience that first initial delayed onset muscle soreness.
And it's I can't live my life
and
like
quit
this.
because they think that it's going to be forever. No, it's not going to be forever.
Yeah. People really do. I thought that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it makes sense.
And it's funny. I never noticed, I started working out for the first time and I was like, I'm sore all the time. But other than that, I feel really good. Yeah. So it was and I'm not lifting super heavy weights. At that point, I was mostly doing body weight stuff, very light, because that's what I wanted to do. And I was like, I feel really great. I can live with low grade muscle soreness indefinitely. Yeah. This is fine. And then I just never really thought about it again. And I stayed sore for a couple of weeks. And then a couple of months later, I was like,
I'm not sore
I don't
anymore.
get sore anymore.
Yeah.
So it's I still feel really good because of the workouts that I'm doing. And I also don't have to deal with the one drawback that I had identified, which aspect. Was soreness.
Now, for me, I do live with that low grade level of soreness.
Yeah.
But that's the sport that I've chosen to do. Powerlifting is a little bit more.
Very intense.
And I would honestly say that it's not so much DOMS. Sometimes it is, but it's more so the joint fatigue that I live with, which is something that it's a trade-off that you have to make.
Yeah.
When you do a sport like powerlifting or bodybuilding or Olympic weightlifting,
Yeah.
you are going to deal with joint fatigue. That's just
like,
part of it.
I'm never going to get joint fatigue
Right.
because
You work with
I
bands,
lift 20 pounds
lighter
at a time.
weights. Yeah, exactly. But you
Like-
still can get good results with that for
100%.
your goal.
Yeah, I'm really happy with my results. I'm not interested in squatting 300 pounds.
It's all good.
Not interested in it.
And
so
that's
my
fine.
knees will never be upset with me for that.
And the thing about it is, just because my joints are sore now does not mean that I'm doing permanent damage to my knees. Maybe I am,
Yeah, but
you know, because that's everybody's knock on lifting heavy is, oh, well, in 10 years when you're walking with a cane, let me know how you feel, young buck. It's like, dude.
I see a lot of people walking with a cane, and it's not
And
anybody who's been lifting heavy weights.
They sat on their behind.
There's a lot of reasons you might need to walk with a cane.
Right.
I would think that lifting weights is probably one of the least
That one drives me
risky.
crazy. One of these days, we're going to do a podcast on that. I mean,
Yeah.
because, geez, a lot of times your joint health improves from heavy resistance training.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so, actionable tip if you're coming back from illness, I would honestly say start very, very, very light.
Like, just be nice to yourself for a couple of weeks.
But more so than light, I think that the volume, meaning the amount of sets and reps relative to the weight that you're doing, should probably be reduced. So it should be a glorified deload.
Yeah.
So if you've been humming along and you get sick and it's an illness that takes you, you know, it's a chest illness more so than it is a head illness. Because if you have like a head cold, you can kind of deal with it. You can work through it.
Yeah.
But if it's something fever, if it's below the neck,
Take a break.
Take a break. Don't go into the gym first and foremost. But when you come back that first week, go in with an understanding of the volume probably should be reduced. If you're a crazy person and you love pain, go for it. I'm not your dad. But
This is our advice.
a general recommendation, I would say, and what helped me get through this week was a programmed reduction in volume. Next week is going to be fun because the volume is just shooting right back up in this program that I'm going from 2 sets to 5 sets. That's a big jump. So we're going to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Takeaway message. Do not be afraid of a 1 week break at all. It shouldn't even cross your radar. Take a break. You're going to be fine. A 2 week break with no illness. Again, you may experience a little bit of drop in perceived strength. That's probably just rust with the movement patterns. A month plus, you're going to experience some reduction in muscle size. You're going to experience some reduction in strength. But just know it's not going to take you as long as it did to get back to where you were than how long it took you when you first started. So take comfort in that.
Yeah.
And I think a good rule of thumb is however long you were out, it's probably going to take you half that time to get back to full function.
So if you're off for a month
2 weeks.
with lots of active stuff in between, it'll take you 2 weeks to get back to feeling how you were before.
And then with a sickness, play it by ear. Everybody's different. All of the sicknesses are different. You know, if you got bronchitis and it sticks around for a long time, that's different. You know, I had COVID. It went away within 3-4 days. I felt okay. I still experienced a little bit of fatigue, but I didn't have any chest or fever symptoms, so I went back in. Talk to your doctor. We're not doctors. With the illness thing, really make sure that you get cleared to go back to the gym if it's hanging around. But when you do start back, reduction in volume, slight reduction in intensity, and you should be good to go.
Yep.
So don't be worried. Life gets in the way sometimes. Sometimes you got to take breaks. Totally good. You will get back to where you were.
Yep.